Start quite yet because I'm not ready, but Buddy. My name is Mimi McLaughlin, and I'm a really good friend of Reese's, and Reese is a really good friend of mine. I have a formal speech. I had to write it down because I knew I'd be nervous, and I am, and it's kind of cold in here, so if I'm shaking, it's because I'm cold. Right. Thanks, Randy. I got Randy the heckler in the front row. It's Reese's brother. He runs in their blood. So on behalf of the family and loved ones of our beloved Reese McHenry, I want to thank each of you for being here today as we come together to honor and celebrate the life of Reese. Well, the size of this crowd speaks to the love and respect Reese inspired in so many. She would have been delighted to have this many people here. She also would have been kind of pissed that it took what it took to get all of you out. This is what I gotta do for a crowd? You can hear her saying that, right? Thank you to all of you for being her friends, her musical cohorts, her muses, her fans. Thank you to the friends who traveled far to be here. Thank you to your family for being here. Thank you to all who have contributed to her care through her GoFundMe, her multiple fundraisers, and for giving support and care throughout the years. Reese and I had planned to steal that money and go to Mexico. We were going to turn into leather people and drink chemo coladas. Thank you, Motorco and staff, for hosting this beautiful event, and to everyone who helped put this together. Today, we will be remembering, loving, and honoring Reese. We'll hear from many friends, family, and fellow musicians who loved Reese. Please feel free to do what you need to take care of yourself during this emotional time. Feel free to quietly move around. You can get a snack from next door where the event will be live streamed, projected, apparently. You can get a drink from the bar, and make sure you tip your bartenders. Maybe take turns sitting down. Everybody's sitting down, so we're good. Stay hydrated. Tears are a lot of water. There are tissues around for whatever you may need. The program outlines who's going to speak and sing, and you can see there's going to be a lot of love to be expressed today. Please be respectful of the speakers and musicians who are courageous enough to get up here. We will have a short opportunity for those who wish to say a word or two, and that's going to be limited to 3 minutes per person, or we will turn the Oscar music on. At 4 o'clock, we're going to have a second line processional march out Rigsby, and we invite you to join in the Reese Parade. There will be horns, drumline, whole thing. I would also like to thank her family for giving us Reese. Thank you to her mother, Betty Lou Burnson, for bringing Reese into this world. And thank you, Brother Randy, for being here. And to Carrie Von Erich, pro wrestler, who unknowingly Reese claimed as her father as she was growing up. At least that's what she told the kids at school. True story. She confirmed it in the hospital. I showed her a picture. She said, "That's my dad." I wish I could project a picture right now of Carrie Von Erich. Thank you to her early adulthood adoptive parents, Greg and Sharon Lind, for attracting her here to North Carolina so she would end up here for our community to keep and call our own. Thank you for her married family, the McHenrys, for taking her in so completely and caring for her so wholly. Thank you, Rosemary, for all that you did for her. I don't know where Rosie is. Oh, thank you. For driving her, for caring for her, for feeding her, for every bit of care that you did for her. And mostly, thank you to Justin, who Reese fell for in the convenience store. The lanky John Lennon look-alike who she could just not resist. Her head swiveled, she saw you. That was that. Your care for her while she was sick is truly inspiring. Thank you. I'm really proud of you. You championed her music. You were the straight man to her blistering humor. You were the shy Carl to her extroverted Dolly. You provided the space and love for her to follow her dream, which was music, to follow her wanderlust and create her abundant flow of music, and for her to build this supportive community of love and collaborators in this breathtaking musical universe. How lucky we all have been to be in her orbit. So, I want to say a few quick words about my Reese. I met Reese on Halloween 2007. She was dressed up as a doctor, of all things, and singing Thunderstruck with Red Collar. And I was. I was never not awestruck and electrified when I heard her sing. She became a cherished friend. She took care of me, my pets, and my house, my kids. She carried me through my heartbreaks, my breakups. We went to each other's shows. Well, mostly I went to her shows. We recorded together. Once I got to be in a recording booth with her, and her voice was so big and mine was so whispery small, she had to teach me how to sing in that moment. She was my favorite person to text with, whip smart, clever, funny. I hope someone will make a book of Reese's hilarious texts. I know you all have them. But also, besides her amazing humor, she was so sensitive and compassionate. Reese was one of the people who could tolerate and talk about my profound loss. She checked in on me often, and during one of my particularly griefy days, I had cried to her again. She was already dealing with more than someone should, and she had cancer. Why would she want to hear about my sad life? I apologized for burdening her with my crying, and she told me this. It helped me, and maybe her words will help you too to get through today and days to come. She said, I think it's good to cry, and I think it's good to cry again, again, and again. Jack was not some passing person in your life. Lots of emotions and lots of opportunities to talk about it and let it out, and you're always safe to do that with me. I will never, ever, ever get tired of you talking about your loss. Try very hard not to be hard on yourself about showing emotion, crying. We don't need heroes here. We need people that can stop and take a minute to feel their emotions. Just remember that people who are irritated with your crying are the ones who can't see past their own terrifying vulnerability. Reese was no passing person. Reese endured more than most could and remained open and vulnerable and expressive and funny. She cracked us open. She saw what was inside and reflected back the very best version of ourselves for us to see. She loved us. Still, you fuck up. Sorry, kids, but not really. Y'all know Reese. And she always let me know that. Her last words to me were, I love you so much. Grief is hard, it's non-negotiable, and it's the price we pay for love. It feels heavy, and it is also a reminder of the depth of the bond that we shared with Reese. Inside of our sadness, there's also joy and humor. In the stories and the music we will share, in the ways Reese impacted our lives, and in the legacy she leaves behind. As you know, Reese was a prolific and brilliant songwriter. She recorded and sang with and played with so many of the musicians in this room. And there are many recordings out there that are just surfacing that have not yet been released. We still have those recordings to look forward to. Her music will keep Reese present in our hearts and our memories. We will not forget her. So let's now listen to one of these unreleased songs. It's called Mississippi Blue. Reese recorded this with Chris Rossi, one of her dearest collaborators. And she really loved his chicken. Here's the background on the song from Chris. Hang on just a second. Hang on. So, that's one of those weird pauses in those songs if you're not sure when to clap. So I'm going to read what Chris wrote about it. At the end of last year and the beginning of this year, Reese came in to lay down some demos with me. Some of the songs she just wanted to get down to show to her band. But she was also interested in collaborating with me and elaborating on some of these songs. She mentioned having written a bunch of songs for a rock opera and wanting help going through that, although we never got to that. And I'm very sad about that. Very curious. This is a song she demoed for me and then asked me to work up a fingerstyle arrangement for. So I charted out the demo, laid down a basic track, called Reese back to lay down her vocal, and then I elaborated and re-recorded the track around her vocal. I first recorded Reese 20 years ago. And then she was so nervous she was shaking. It's been amazing to watch her grow and develop into the confident artist most people here know. On this afternoon, 20 years later, earlier this year, she nailed this vocal in a single take without barely a thought, and then laid down a couple more demos for me. This, to me, is better than a photograph, because when I listen to it, it's like she's back in the room with me. Thank you, Chris. So let's bring Reese into the room.
Something in your voice. supposed to go after that? Hi, I'm Hannah Demerit, and I know a few of you here, but not a lot of you too. So I'm just going to say a little about how I know Reese. I met Reese in 2003 when I had moved back here to North Carolina, my home, but after being away for a long, long time. And Reese was pretty new here too, and she was the first real friend I made when I got back here. And we've been close friends ever since. And although I met her playing music, I haven't played music since 2005 when my wonderful twins, Henry and Karina, were born. And Josh Fireman is their father. They're not just mine. And Reese came and saw them hours after they were born at the hospital. There's a picture in the slideshow of her holding them. And then was their babysitter and nanny for about a year. And remained just such an important person in my life and in my children's lives. And I'm just immensely grateful that they were loved by and loved Reese. They're better people for it, and I know that she was an auntie to many of her friends' children. Okay. One way to get it together and stop crying is I want to honor Reese by telling a funny story about her, and it's inappropriate too. And I felt like that was really staying true to Reese. And it also just speaks to how much she kept her sense of humor till pretty much the end. So it was probably the third or fourth time she had been in ICU, in the month or so before she passed. And she had been unrousable and very disoriented, and it was sort of unclear, were you going to see Reese again when she was lucid? And then she would have these periods of she would just come out of being unrousable and out of it and be completely lucid and totally hilarious. And it was so joyous. And my oldest child, Sasha, was visiting with me, and we were there during one of these periods of lucidity, probably about 10 days before Reese died. And as we were leaving, and she had been cracking us up the whole time, and as we were leaving, Sasha and I were by Reese's head in her bed, and Justin was standing across from us, and we were kissing her goodbye. And Reese had always told me that I was her friend who would tell her the truth. I don't know, maybe she told other people this too. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but anyway. And so she took my hand and looked me in the eye very seriously and said, I have something to ask you, and I want you to promise to tell me the truth. And I was like, oh shit, what is she gonna ask me? Of course. I was like, yes, of course, but I was, a little apprehensive about what this might be. I had been lucky enough to spend a lot of time with Reese in the months she had been sick because I have a very flexible job, and so we talked about all kinds of heavy things during that time. And so she asked me again, did I promise to tell her the absolute truth? And I said, yes. And she looked at me completely deadpan and said, after you all leave, are Justin and I going to make love in this bed? To which I said, no. I can't say for certain, but I don't think that's likely. But I left, so I don't know what happened, okay? Anyway, okay, so it was really great. And when I told Mimi that I wanted to speak today, I spent a lot of nights afterwards wondering, why did I say I wanted to do this, and what in the world am I going to say? And the why was easy, because I mean, like all of us here, I love Reese so dearly and deeply. She was one of the kindest and most remarkable people that I've ever known, and undoubtedly that's true for many of us here. And so the why was easy, the what was the hard part, because how can I honor Reese adequately? She was a magical force in this universe, a true treasure of a person, brilliant, talented, hilarious, so empathetic, kind, and such a steadfast, non-judgmental, and supportive friend to me and so many others. And what really stands out, and I know all of you know this, is what an extraordinarily loving person Reese was. When I think about Reese and her gigantic love and empathy, and about losing her and going on without her and her legacy, I'm reminded of something that the author Anne Lamott said about love and grief. And I know that Reese really loved Anne Lamott's book, Bird by Bird. And Lamott said about her own love and grief about losing a friend to cancer, life has got to be bigger than death, and love has got to be bigger than fear, or this is all a total bust and we are all just going tourist class. Reese embodied choosing love over fear, whether it was as a musician, fighting her many illnesses, surviving other hardships. Reese lived love being bigger than fear. And I visited her at the hospital. Like I said, I have a very flexible job, so I was very lucky to be able to do that. And I was just struck over and over by the kindness that she was showing to every person at the hospital, day after day, when she was really suffering quite a bit. Not just to me, making me feel welcome when I came in, but every time she'd ask the nurse for something, it was please. Every time the nurse brought something, thank you. Over and over. And every person who picked up the tray of food or brought it in or cleaned the room or checked her blood sugar, all those nuisances, right? When you're in the hospital where you're like, leave me alone. Reese would say thank you, and show kindness to these folks and it just felt like it said so much to me about her as a person, that even in a time where no one would expect anyone to be so gracious, that she was, even if she was sleeping or in pain, or sleepy or in pain, she would perk up to show that kindness to people. And I'm sure that surprises none of you here. And I try to live my life choosing love over fear, and sometimes it's easier than others. And one part of Reese's legacy that I hope we'll all carry forward and be able to be inspired by is how she really was able to always make love bigger than fear in her life. Just to say a bit about her humor and her music, I also see those as part of Reese's huge love. Of course, she loved being funny for her own sake and expected you to think she was funny. If you didn't, you were dead to her. And it made her feel good, right? Of course, it made her feel good. And music, she loved singing and playing and writing, and that made her feel good. But it also, Reese loved to bring joy to other people. And I know that, some of it was for her, but a lot of it was her wanting to bring that joy to other people and to make other people feel good. And she not only wanted to make people feel happy, she also wanted to make them feel connected and known. And we saw this in the many social media tributes to her, and the obituary that the McHenry family wrote just really nailed it, I think, about how Reese knew you. She listened. She was interested. She made you feel heard and known. And you knew you could tell her anything and that she wouldn't judge you, even if she might tell you something you didn't want to hear. But that's the mark of a true friend. Truly, her capacity for empathy is just extraordinary. And I've promised myself going forward that when I'm being hard on myself, as I sometimes am, to think of what Reese would have said to me. And, I've been, like many of us probably, I've been reading through old texts from her, and saw one the other day where I was telling her how I had been unkind to my children and feeling really bad about it. And it was great because Reese didn't say, no, you didn't fuck up. She was like, we're all fallible, and be much kinder to yourself than you think you deserve. And I'm just gonna, try to take that forward with me and remind myself of that when I'm being hard on myself, and I hope that others can do the same. Because even though she's not here with us anymore, I will never feel less loved by her than I did when she was here with us. Her love, like her music, will be with all of us forever. So thank you for letting me talk to you about Reese.
Hello. My name's Rob Walsh, and I probably know most of y'all here. Yeah, I used to play with Reese and the Dirty Little Heaters, and her and I, have been friends for a very long time, and Justin. First of all, it's great to see you all. It really is. It's good to see you all here. I'm a little nervous, but yeah. And I met Reese back in 2002, and she was a really. I used to play in this band called The Spins, and she was a really big fan of that band. Like, she told me that was her favorite band, and it was funny. I kept trying to think about something to write down. I feel like it's gonna shoot from the hip here, because every time I try to write something down, I would just start breaking down. But when we met, my band had played this place called The Library in Chapel Hill, and the show was a fucking disaster. Like, we were playing just like most of them were, man, you know what I mean? Like, we got into this huge, brawl, I remember, the whole thing was just a disaster, to make a long story short. But anyway, we were done, and I was, trying to get my head together and stuff, and she came running up to me and was like, and this is when I met her, and she's like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And I think I might have been bleeding. Because I'd been punched in the face on the stage in front of people. And so she was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And this is before social media. MySpace was around. We were the MySpace band of the month, right? If that dates this whole story. But at any, so she's just like a super fan, just coming at me, and I'm trying to it was very chaotic. But anyway, she's like, oh, where are you guys going next? I was like, well, I'm probably going home. And she was like, well, where's that? I was like, well, she didn't know we were from Chapel Hill, She thought that, we were these famous dudes or whatever, and I was like, well, I'm first going to beat this guy's ass, and then I'm going to go home, And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, I have this band, and we're playing in, my name's Reese Gibbs, and I have this band, and we're playing in Chapel Hill, this place called The Cave, in a couple days. And I was like, yeah, I know The Cave. And back then, you got to remember, for me anyway, one of the many things I got from Reese, she really opened my eyes to a whole different world that was out there. I came from upstate New York, where and I'm from a different generation, I guess, where emotion and things are different, and there weren't a lot of women in rock bands, hard rock bands. There weren't. There were just sayings I felt. This is 20, some odd years ago, but I was a little more close-minded back then, I think. Anyway, she was like, I have this band, and I was like, yeah, I was like, it's some Indigo Girls cover band or something, what I mean? Yeah, whatever, dude, okay, cool, no problem. So, and that was that. That was when we met, you know what I mean? And, that was, and to be honest with you, I forgot all about it. And then, so a few days later, I was hanging out, and I was walking down to the cave, as I did every day of my life. And I was coming down the back way, and it was in the summertime, and on my way down there, man, I could hear music playing. When someone's playing a record, from across the street, and you can kind of hear it. And I was walking, and as I kept walking, it kept getting a little bit louder. And it sounded like someone was cranking some Janis Joplin or something, man. You know what I mean? I was like, well, what is that? And as I kept getting closer to the cave, it was coming from the cave. I was like, man, this is some stripped down Big Brother bootleg that girls must be playing or something. I had no idea. And as I walked in, And I came, through the back into the spot, and it was Reese and Melissa Thomas at the time, playing. And I was fucking floored. I mean, I had never, and excuse my language, but like, man, it's like moments in your life, moments in my life where like, just something just fundamentally changes everything for you. Like the first time I heard Dead Moon, it just changed it changed everything. It changed the way I looked at music. Like I just stood there dumbfounded watching Reese, and I was like, holy shit, that's that girl that was at that show the other day. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my God. And then, I was literally like, it was like some blight. I'm really not trying to embellish this, or I'm not trying to like, it was just like, someone had turned a light on for me, and I was just completely blown away. And then when the show was over, when they were done, she's like, oh my God, you remembered my show. And I was like, yeah, I would have meant, yeah. Fuck yeah, I remembered your show, come on. You know what I mean? And she's like the Dirty Little Heaters, and I ended up joining that band, and I played in that band for a long time with Dave, and with several other folks that came, and like a lot of Bob and like people that are here, like not only was I just blessed with Reese, Reese and Justin took me in when I had nowhere to go, and at a time in my life when things were really, really hard, and I'll never forget that. And like, Reese, Reese always had my back, and I fucked a lot of shit. I messed a lot of stuff up. I did, man. We all have hard times. We all stumble and fall. You know what I mean? And then there's people in your life like Reese that will always pick you up and like always believe in you. Long after we stopped playing to meet together, like, we were always still at thick as thieves, because Reese was like, Stu and I were just talking about this earlier, that, Reese always had to make music, had to play. When we were done, she's like, on to something, going, man. Writing music, for me, just to be able to like bear witness to that and be part of that with her, that was the Reese show, you know what I mean? And I'm a less talk, more rock guy. Like, I can't stand it when people are telling you what their songs are about, except when it was playing with her, because man, she could talk and she could get. And when people will say like, oh man, she lit up a room, man, she like blew up a room. We would play shows and like, yeah, like Reese didn't know any strangers, man. Like Dave was saying, like she was just the most, I've had a hard time with this, man, really, it's just so friends for so, and she's like, for me, with Reese, like her heart problems, and it's everything, like she always beat everything, man. And I miss her so much, and I'm very grateful to see you all here, and I know she would be so happy to see you all here too, and Mimi, and like started the program, like when I was looking through the program there and seeing like, that song, Mexico Way, a song that I probably played on stage, thousands of times, but that passage from that song is Reese in a nutshell, you know what I mean? She wants you to remember the good times, And I was always convinced she wrote that song about me, because I still love you, you fuck up. She would never tell me, but I kind of believe that I was the fuck up that song was about. I really do, man, but I guess we'll never know. Listen, man, thank you so much for not, for being here, and thanks Mimi and everyone for, and Motorco and Rick, and for doing such a wonderful job with this. It's very special.
Probably going to get more awkward now, but I'm Lydia, and I was friends with Reese. I was really lucky to be friends with Reese. She was my first friend when I moved down here in 2017. And when I moved away, it was really hard for me to leave, and I was going through a lot, and she was just so supportive and helpful and listened to me endlessly complain and cry about everything in my life. And it was 2021, I think, in April. It was April Fool's Day, very unfortunately, when she called me to tell me that she had cancer. And I said, you should be aware that it is April Fool's Day. She was calling everyone that day, and I was like, I know this is not funny, but it is April Fool's Day. But Reese laughed at everything, and not in a mean-spirited or vulgar way, although it was very crass often. But we talked a little on the phone about like what was going to happen and the plan for everything. And I was looking out the window, and it was snowing. And I said, oh my God, it's snowing. I can't believe it's snowing in April. And she said, well, is it snowing cancer? That sounds real tough for you. And we laughed really, really hard at that. I mean, she just made everything joyous and funny. It wasn't like empty laughter. It was very vulnerable, and she just made space emotionally for so many people. And I really hope that I was half as good of a friend to her as she was to me, because I don't know. I mean, I think she would really love this party. I know it's not a party, but I think she would really be happy to see how many people are here and how many people she affected. And I'm going to try to sing a song now. So I'm not a very good public speaker, but this is Flower in the Dark. Close the door. I
everybody. Can you hear me all right? This is incredible. Thank you, Lydia. Your voice is always so beautiful. I don't know where you went, but I've draped a t-shirt with her face on it over my bedroom door. Every day I walk by it and say, today I will be like you. What does that mean today? Mostly it means being present. As I'm sure many have attested before me and will attest after me, she had such a way of listening. When I spoke, it felt like there was nothing else in the world. I think that's why a lot of us are here, because we believe her to be one of our closest confidants. I know I've heard that already from many. And I don't think any of us are wrong. She was so good at that. When I close my eyes, I can see her face, her hand under her chin, listening to me, nodding along, saying, "Oh, I know," or "I never liked him anyway." We're always in a bar somewhere in my mind, the red light bouncing off of her curls. I met Reese in 2016 or 2017. I was booking shows at the Cave at the time, and I messaged her on Facebook, and I was like, "Hi Reese, my name is Sarah Ward. I'm booking shows at the Cave, and I was wondering if you wanted to play a residency." And she wrote back, she was like, "I know who you are." And I was like, okay. And the first time that she texted me, I was stuck in a snowstorm. I was living in a country road all the way at the end of the road, and I was alone. My partner at the time was on tour, and she said something about maybe borrowing Rock's car because it had four-wheel drive to come get me. And I don't know if that ever happened or not. That time is such a blur, but you know, we were, as many of us in this room, we were fast friends, and that friendship was really born off of helping each other and wanting to help each other. And when I think of her, I think so much about how she knew how much help, assistance, care meant for other people. You know, and I know that it's because she was provided so much care by others. What do I even say about her? I personally, I feel awful that I never got to say to her just how intricately she's woven into my life. When I saw her the Monday before she passed, I held her hand and I cried. I couldn't do anything except look at her. She wasn't really totally lucid. And I couldn't figure out what to say other than, "I'm sorry for crying. I'm sorry that my hands are cold." She was kind of in and out during that time, and when a group, I think maybe a palliative care team, came in, Justin, you were there, I was bragging to them about her being a musician. And she sat straight up, as straight as she could. She kind of did one of these. And I was like, she also really likes dirty jokes. It went over very well. When I tell stories about my life, I mention her frequently. I remember we were standing outside the storage unit that she had with Justin, and I told her, this was before I got sober, that I hadn't planned on stopping drinking until I landed myself in the hospital. And her reaction to that was such a touchstone for me because it reflected how skewed my thinking was at the time. And her voice, and that just sort of, yeesh, it's like seared into my head. And it's only in retrospect I realize how deep and meaningful that reaction was, because she didn't want me to go through that. When I had knee surgery and I was laid up for months all alone, I remember her standing in my bedroom on the phone with Justin because she didn't know how to set up the PlayStation that I had. And she was so determined to help me, as she so frequently was. And I felt bad for bothering Justin. But she brought me Burger King that day, and she said, "For my Burger Queen." And she took a picture of me when we were done, and we both laughed at how pathetic I looked, and she was so good at laughing through the rough moments. As I was spinning out immensely after my divorce, Reese stood by my side. I felt at the time like I had lost a huge support network. I struggled with feeling alone and feeling insignificant. How deeply she was there for me, without question. For whatever reason during that time, she just was there. She pulled so many rescue missions for me, or for my belongings, or for my sanity. I felt like I was her favorite Uber customer. I saw her almost every night for a while, and I didn't even need to ask. She was just there. She was willing to be my friend in a time when I was an extremely difficult person. I guess it's because she loved me. I felt like it was her mission to love me when I was so hurt and I felt so alone. I'll never forget it. I think of sitting in her van and talking, or of getting food together, texting each other with all of our nonsense. Most of our texts to each other were some versions of, "I'm in so much heartache," or "Where are you and what are you doing right now?" or "How can we run away with each other?" Autocorrect wanted me to change that to "How can we run away from each other?" And I think she'd find that very funny. I just wanted to be there for her. I wanted to help her so much. She was so good to me, so unconditional, and I know I'm not the only one in the room that feels this way. I told someone recently that if someone had said to me, "We can cure her of this, you just have to climb Mount Everest tomorrow," I would drop everything that I was doing and I would get on a plane, even in the platforms that I'm wearing right now. My brain has been rushing, trying to remember every single moment that happened between us, but the truth of the matter is that there's just too much to recap. There's too many joys, too much anger at the world and at others, too much heartache, too much mutual care and support. I would like to invite everybody in this moment to just take a look around the room, turn around, look at all the people behind you, the people next to you. She brought us all together. She did. And she touched each of us. And the same way that she had each of us, we can have each other. We can carry that on. Reese was prolific. And the definition of that being present in large numbers or quantities, plentiful. And I don't mean just as a songwriter. I mean her and her person and her smile and her life. She was so plentiful. More than enough, she'd probably say. Her very being is in here with all of us, present in large numbers and quantities with each of us. And I just wanted
us to take a second, for us to hold that together. Because she sees us, I know she does. I was joking with Mike Wallace after the memorial, or I guess it wasn't a memorial, the benefit that turned into whatever it was that night, that she's wherever she is and seeing this room full of people emotional and crying, and she's just like, good. I was amazing. You should be sad. Reese, I've never lost someone like you, and it's such a horrible experience. You are so amazing, and I plan to live my life every day in honor of that. Somewhere and somehow, always. I love you, my wonderful friend. More than you will ever know, more than I ever got to tell you. It makes me want to throw up. How I'll never be able to explain the depth of that to you. You'd make a joke about me wanting to throw up. You'd probably make a joke about all of this. I love you, sweet Reese. Thank you.
Anybody leave their glasses up here? I have to apologize to Sarah because I think I was supposed to go there, but I was in the bathroom collecting myself because I was a fucking mess after Lydia played that song for reasons which will become apparent in a few moments. So I'm sorry that I disappeared. First, I want to just say something that I said at the 506 party, memorial, whatever you want to call it, that these days are very triggering, and I'm sure there are people in here who are in recovery who have substance abuse issues. If you need a friend, this room is full of friends. So just find someone and talk to them, because these days are fucking hard, and they're triggers, like I said. To all the kids, I'm sorry. I curse a lot. Reese loved that about me. So those of you that know me, my name is Mike Vinny Tolomantovani. Mike V is way easier. And I'm a friend of Reese's, and I'm never going to say I was a friend of Reese's because I'm not going to speak in the past tense. And I'm a writer. I'm a writer by trade, and when I realized I was going to be doing this, when Mimi said that there would be a spot for me to say a few words, I sat down on my computer, and my day is filled with writing whether I want to or not. And I'm really good at doing that, at fucking saying things when I don't feel like it. And no matter what I did, no matter what kind of emotion I tried to conjure, what kind of memories, I could not write a single word. My page just stayed blank in front of me. So I just have a couple of notes here that were more or less pulled over and written on my bike ride over here today. A lot of us are at an age where life takes our friends a lot more often than it gives us friends. And so a lot of us are kind of versed in the process of grief and grieving, or our process of grief and grieving, which is different for all of us. But this loss has hit me like a fucking freight train, as I'm sure it has so many of you. And for each person in here, the reason is different. Whatever Reese meant to you and means to you and will mean to you for the rest of your life is between you and between Reese, and it's a beautiful thing, and I hope you all find ways to celebrate it in her loss and in her absence. One of the biggest reasons is because I'm a tiger dad. I love my babies more than anything in the world, and Reese took such good care of my babies. I don't let anybody hold my babies. I don't let people come and watch my babies. I want to make sure that person is going to take care of my babies in the way that I take care of them, the way my wife takes care of them. But the instant Reese offered, hey, I'm between tours, this was years ago, I'd love to come watch your kids sometime. I didn't even discuss it with my wife, which is not how we operate. It was, fuck yeah, come on over. Come as often as you want. Come, take care of them, because I trust you, and I know you, and I know that you're gonna look after my daughter and my son in the way that my wife and I would. And that has a lot to do with it, especially when I look at my little girl, who is reckless and loud and carefree, and I see a lot of Reese in her. So when I was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about, the idea of a legacy kept coming up, and what is Reese's legacy? What will be Reese's legacy? And there are two kinds of legacies, right? There's a direct legacy and there's an indirect legacy. And so, first, I want to talk about Reese's direct legacy that she leaves behind. So when I first moved down here, my wife and I first moved down to Chapel Hill from New York City almost 10 years ago. I had known the crew at the Cave because my band, they would have us play there all the time when we'd come on tour. So that became kind of like a de facto hang, and for me. And one night I was there, and Reese played, and she blew me away in a way that I hadn't been blown away in a long time. And I thought, well, how can I be a part of this person's world, creatively, musically? We couldn't collaborate because I was in my own band, which was very serious at the time, and nor would she have wanted to collaborate with me. I was like, she's way too fucking talented to play with me. But, so I bought a copy of the record, and I brought it home, and I played it, and one of the reasons I had to go collect myself after Lydia played that song was I played Flower in the Dark on repeat for like a fucking week. And I haven't played a song on repeat since fucking I first heard Tommy James and the Shondells doing Crimson and Clover when I was like 7 years old. But I played that song over and over and over again, just trying to figure out how somebody could be that talented, how somebody could sing like that, how somebody can create a piece of art that moved me like that, and how that person could just be, no diss to the Cave, I fucking love the Cave, how someone like that could be playing for 8 people at the Cave that night. It was very quiet. It was like a Monday, all right, let's not. And so I approached Reese shortly thereafter, and I said, hey, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to figure out something to do with you. And very matter-of-factly, she was like, put my record out. And I was like, okay. So I started a record label. We had a record come out before her record, but because she didn't even have a record then. I don't remember the timeline exactly, but I don't even know if she was playing with you guys at that point. But she was like, yeah, put my record out. And so we did. And so I released the No Dados record and started a record label, and have since released a dozen other releases. And her direct legacy is the music that she created. It's the music that she left us with. Her indirect legacy is the fact that she forced me to create something that has since helped other people put their art into the world. And art that's gonna live for fucking ever. For as long as there are people who can listen to music, these records, these singles, they're gonna exist forever. And the reason is because Reese McHenry said to me, put out my record. And so when I think of Reese's indirect legacy, I think of all of those records that came after her, whether or not she knew it, and that she helped create a space for me to help, for us to help artists So it's hard, though. It's hard to define an indirect legacy versus a direct legacy. I mean, again, we have Reese's records. We have her memories. We have the music that she made. We have music that a lot of us has never heard. A lot of us have never heard before. What's a lot harder to define are those indirect legacies. And in a lot of ways, there are ways to be mindful about it. And I encourage people to keep Reese's memory and her legacy alive, not only through saying her name, not only through evangelizing her music and her memory and telling her stories, but to act in a way that she would have acted, to approach the world in the way she would have approached the world. Make people smile. Yeah. Tell people how much you appreciate them. Don't wait. Tell them now. Tell people what you need, but let them know that they can tell you the same. Make music. Be brutally honest with your people. Be there for your people. Let your people be there for you. Because for a lot of us, accepting help is really fucking hard for some reason. Let your people take care of you. Offer to watch people's babies so they could take a nap. But above all, don't ever be afraid to tell a really fucking inappropriate joke. The world sucks without Reese McHenry in it. But we can do our best through both her direct legacy and her indirect legacy to keep her around for as long as we can. And I hope you all do that, both through your words and your actions. I fucking love you, Reese. I'm gonna miss you so much. And thank you for everything.
Hi everyone. I'm Sarah Bell, and I don't know what to say that's not gonna, make me really sad, and except that or that would add to what all of you beautiful words that people have said about the ferocious heart that was Reese McHenry that we all got to occupy this world with. Like immediately when Mimi asked about playing songs, I just thought about this song came to mind. It's a song that she recorded on the Second Wife record with Jerry, and also with Bob Wall. So I'm really happy that y'all are here to play with us. And I feel the same way. It's hard to. She's such a force. She was so beautiful and powerful and magnanimous, and I just want to try to live life the the way that she did and try to model that. And it's hard. It was one of the crazy things about thinking of all of this is how her corporal self could have struggled so much when her spiritual and the person that she was to all of us was so intense. And I keep thinking of this quote from Patti Smith in a song that she wrote after she lost her husband and her brother, where she said, "We're only given as much as a heart can endure." And I just think about how that she gave more heart than any of us could have imagined, and maybe that was as much as it was possible for her to give us in this life. And I forgot the words to this song. I left them in the dressing room, so I'm going to do my best not to forget them.
went again. Thank you, Mimi and Justin and Reese's family for having us.
Okay. Just looking at a few things here. Okay, my name is, I'll try to keep it kind of short. A lot of what I kind of expected, would be, the sentiment I felt would probably be said again and again a few times. So, but thanks Mimi for letting me be here. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm also a musician. Reese and I played a bunch of shows together, and it kind of started we were on a radio, we were on WXDU together, and we kind of took over the show. We both like to talk, we're both talkers, and we kind of clicked really fast, and it sort of, we're bantering back and forth, and after that, I just moved back here. It was like 2014. I moved away, and I came back, and I just quit drinking and was kind of getting back into playing music again, and so I was looking to do some stuff, and Reese and I felt like we had a really good. I didn't realize that she connected with everybody, like they were her best friend. I felt like she and I we were cut from the same cloth, so I got on Facebook and I was like playing some shows and we should do something, and I asked her, the very first thing I asked her to do was I was setting up like a songwriter thing at Letters Bookshop in their old location on Valentine's Day, which I didn't know was her birthday, but that, of course, she told me, oh my God, it's my birthday. So we did it with Shane, who's here. We all kind of had known each other from back. I see Shane over there. Yeah, he also signed on to my kind of stupid idea to put on a show at a bookstore. But I thought it was kind of outside the box, but she did it and just played great, and that kind of was the beginning of just a lot of bantering back and forth. She then invited me to do the Love Hangover, which is in Raleigh. It's always after Valentine's Day. We practiced from November to the show was in February, so we practiced for that 3 songs we were going to do from November, December, January, and then February came and there was an ice storm, and I was looking back through messages, and the day of it was back and forth, where I don't know, the weather's saying everything's canceled and there's ice on the road, but they're still having the show, and should we do it? We practiced for months, and eventually we both decided it was not worth risking life and limb to drive all the way to Raleigh. I was here in Durham and she was out in Chatham County, so we just were even though we'd put so much work into it, but through her, I learned, we did a lot of pitching songs back and forth, and I was really trying to, I thought I was trying to sort of impress her with my country music knowledge, so I was throwing out some duets and stuff, but she would come back with or what about if we do a Tool song, sit down, and I was like, all right, that's pretty cool, Tool. So, but we kind of landed on, we had a mutual love of Tom T. Hall. That sort of further bonded us, and she introduced me to the song "You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma" by Dave Frizzell and Shelley West, which is on the soundtrack to the Clint Eastwood movie that does not have the monkey in it. But anyway, it was one of those things that I never would have listened to that song if it wasn't for Reese, and we learned the shit out of it, practiced, and again, never got to do it, but quick side note, we did with her, but through that show, we learned the Tom Petty song that he does with Stevie Nicks, Insider, right? So I learned that one. We never got to play the show, but I ended up doing it with Abby Sheriff, who's my bandmate now. So anyways, in a way, Reese kind of made that happen, just like she did with so many things. And, a lot of I was going back through our messages and emails, and most of it is what you'd expect. It was no, I can't do that date, or like, oh, I'm here, I'm there, you know, like a lot of like scheduling stuff. But it mixed in with that was just like some of the. I told her like, you know, that I had like a folder I was saving for when I needed a boost, you know, when I pick me up, which I do, and you know, because it gets rough out there, and playing music and stuff, and just in general, but. Most of the things I have in that folder are just from her, you know, and some of the times she would just send random, you know, messages, just, you know, but like, I don't know, I pulled a couple out here that like the way she ended it was like, I 100% adore you and everything about you. You're the only real rock star I know. Heart, and then a chili pepper for some reason, which I thought was cute. You know, but it wasn't just like platitudes. It was also like she would, like even like right at the, I was looking back through like the beginning of like when we started talking, and she would like just out of the blue send like really specific things about like a song that, you know, that I'd written or whatever that was like a compliment. So it wasn't just like a, you know, the kind of blasé like, oh wow, sounds great, that rocks, you know, whatever. It was like specific stuff that, you know, she would like, she'd listen, and just like everyone here has said, she just made you feel like you're the only person on earth, you know, and she just like, and that she was really, that she cared so much, and it was like, you know, it felt like, it just felt so good, you know. It was just, it still does. I mean, I still have all those things, you know. And she, I just had a couple other ones here, I guess I wanted to share. But anyway, yes. But yes, another thing she sent me was, you know, just out of the blue in 2020, you know, it was lockdown and everything, and I just got a message that just said "miss you," and it was a picture, a selfie she'd taken of her wearing my like band shirt, you know, like stuff like that. That just, you know, it made your day, and she was so good at that, and she would, you know. I do think I was looking back, I kind of forgotten about it, but there was like, I don't even know what it was, but it helped me to realize that, you know, she also worried for some reason that she wasn't a good enough I don't know, I guess there had been like a lapse in communicating, and she just sent an email saying like, you know, I'm, you know, it was a concern, like just that she had felt like somehow that she hadn't been, you know, there, which to me was mind-boggling, because it's like I can't think of anybody that like I could reach out to and know I would get something positive, something warm back. I mean, so, you know, but so if anybody, because I know that my first, maybe because I'm self-centered, but my first thought, or one of the first thoughts I had when I found out the news, was just that I had that crushing feeling of like, I just, you know, did not do enough, you know, I wasn't there like she was, you know, but now kind of realizing that that's been a pretty impossible task, you know, to try to match her level of friendship. I know a lot of people in this room have done it, and but she also, you know, she worried about that because she cared so much about her friends and just about making people feel good. Anyway, one of the recently it was a couple of years ago, she did a music video with us, and with my band. There was a picture in the slideshow, but it's just like we did, you know, it was like a Saturday morning at like, we started at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at a shadow box, and she was going to a band practice in Raleigh, but still was like, I will be in your music video. I will stop on my way to the practice, and you know, and I had gotten there late, and I was just, you know, just feeling like, oh, you know, this is gonna be a disaster, but she got there and just like set the tone of just like, I mean, the picture really says it, because she's just like beaming, smiling, one-taked it, you know what I mean? She came in there, just did her thing, you know. She had to kind of like lip sync to the song, and just in the course of that, just like set the tone for the rest of the day to make everybody feel so happy and so good, and just came in, you know, like Rob said, you know, she just like, it wasn't just like lighting up the room, it was like just blowing up the room, just filling it with like her energy and like her positivity, and just like, you know, and she made that whole thing work so well, and just she looked so good in it. She was so, we had so many, you know, it's only a 3.5 minute song or whatever, but we had like so much footage of her just because she was just like so great, and sorry, I'm just gonna wrap it up. I was really lucky to get to see her in August when she was doing her residency at the Cave, and playing with her band. I mean, I didn't know until after that. I would have had no way of knowing really that she wasn't feeling. I knew she was sick, but I thought she was the way she played, you would have never known. And that's the thing, is that one thing that Reese taught me to always keep, to heart, is that, like, if you go play a show and there's 2 people there, you play like the room is full. It doesn't matter. You have to still get up and give it your all. She always did that. And there's a few shows we did together where we was just us, really, but like, you wouldn't, when she got on stage, you wouldn't know. It was like she was playing to a full room. And yeah, and I will share. I mean, this has also been sentiment that a lot of us have shared, but I think it is definitely true that she would have loved this. She would have loved seeing all of you here. One of the things she shared with me, and I think this is just it. It means a lot. Anybody here who plays music knows this and goes through this thing, but it's hard, to keep going sometimes when you can't get people out, and even somebody as great as Reese sometimes struggle with that. She had a message to me where she said, I just keep thinking, I don't write songs to make money. Whether people come or not is irrelevant, but man, don't it feel good when people come, when people like you. So I just think, this is proof, that people, not that we didn't just like her, we loved her, and we were really, really lucky to have been here at the same time, and to have, to those of us who got to see her play, and especially to those of us who got to be her friend, but we should all consider ourselves lucky that we got to share the earth at the same time as Reese McHenry. So that's all. Thanks, Mimi, for letting me be up here, and thanks everybody. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Carrie Cantwell. Not to crosstalk, but Mike V, wherever you are. I also did not know what I was going to say. I'm a writing teacher, and the screen was blank. My husband and I moved to Carolina Beach about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago exactly. And so on the drive up here, I still had not, that was this morning, I still had not written anything. And so I decided I was going to do voice to text. I did not. I did voice to voice, and I don't know how to get the text out. So I just typed something really fast while I was down there. I don't remember meeting Reese at all. I have always known Reese. But we were not always friends. We weren't not friends, but we weren't close until she decided that we were going to be close. And I have a feeling there are a lot of people in this room who had the same situation, where Reese just kind of said, "You're my friend now. We're gonna do this." In 2009, she sent me a Facebook message, as she did, that said, now I knew who she was, I could pick her out of a police lineup, I knew her name, I didn't know her at all. And she said, "Dear Carrie, I have decided you and I must be better friends immediately. I know the two of us have little time, but I think this would be worth whatever ladies must give up to become better hanging out friends. I will give you a list of a few things to get us started so we can move on to step 2, the friendship. Number 1, I've lived in NC for 9 years. I moved here from Minneapolis. 2, I met my husband the first month I lived here and knew I would stay forever. 3, marriage has been the greatest thing for me. 4, the most important thing in my life besides my family is music, and I feel thankful for every day for it. 5, my interests are people, books, painting, writing songs, laughing, trashy TV, and people who are witty, warm, and genuine. 6, my pet peeves are lateness, in me or others. Being arbitrarily corrected, in public especially. I think it's boorish. Uptightness that directly affects me, Effect is after the fact, yes? Effect with an A? So please forward your list of what you would like me to know, and then let's go have beers. Now, I don't know if this was like a form letter, if you all got the same email too. It felt very well prepared, very well constructed. She had put a lot of thought into this. So when we became friends, there was one evening I may be remembering this incorrectly. We were standing outside Broad Street Cafe. There was a little group of women standing around, and Reese said, "We're going to have a dinner party at your house, Carrie." Okay. So it was Christina and Reese and myself and our friend Marty and our friend Janet, who was not really our friend. We didn't actually know Janet. I think Reese had met Janet that night and thought she was funny and decided to invite her to my house. So I made chicken. It wasn't as good as Chris Rossi's. I'm pretty sure of that. And as we were sitting there having a ball, telling inappropriate stories, while my husband and our friend were out seeing Steely Dan, Reese said, "My leg is tingling. That's so weird. Oh well." And then the conversation continued, and she said, "I can't really feel my foot." And it turns out that this was one of Reese's first strokes. But she was not going to give up on this dinner party. She didn't know that this was one of her first strokes until much later, and she just was like, "Oh, okay, so that's a thing. All right, moving on." There were two things that I could always count on with Reese, and I suspect everyone in this room would say the same thing. One is that I would laugh until I almost peed myself. And two was that she would always love me. No matter what I said, no matter what I did, she would always love me. And I know a lot of us spent a lot of hours over the last 1 month going through our texts, going through our Facebook messages, going through our Instagram messages, looking for things that she had said to us. And it took me so many hours and hours and hours. And it wasn't because of the volume of things that she had sent me. It was just that I couldn't stop laughing. It was still funny. And so many of our texts, as it turns out, were just us telling each other how much we loved each other. And I did love her so much. I still love her so much. And I feel really, really lucky to have had someone like her in the world, let alone in my life. So lucky. I did not ask for permission to give this next quote, but it was posted on social media, so I feel like it's free reign. But something I've looked back at a lot, our friend Danny Hooley posted in the days after Reese's passing. "Live the kind of life that inspires as much love and admiration as Reese McHenry did." And that's exactly how I plan to try to live my life, because I want this. After I'm gone, do one of these. This is brilliant. So yeah, I do think that she would have said, "Good. Yeah, absolutely. This is how it should be. You should all be at a party for me. In fact, where are the rest of you?" Thank you all. Thanks, Mimi. Thank you, Reese.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been up here already and said all these wonderful things about Reese. I've really loved hearing all these stories, and I'm just so thankful that I got to know her. Not so long ago I walked alone and made decisions on my own. There was a time I stood up like a man, but now I don't know if I can. 'Cause when I'm holding you close, I'm holding my breath. The thought of losing you, it just scares me to death. What can I do? What can I do? It seems like I've been leaning on you too much. I've been leaning on you too much. Every little breath that I take, every single step I make, anytime I make the slightest move, depends on whether you approve. But when I'm holding your hand, I'm holding my breath, 'cause the thought of losing you, it scares me to death. What can I do? What can I do? It feels like I've been leaning on you too much. And I've been leaning on you so much. I've been leaning on you too much.
Hello, my name is Al.
And I'm Annie.
And we're Reese's sissies. We are Justin's sisters. So, growing up, Justin had a nickname, a moniker. We called him J-Hole. And you can start calling him J-Hole too if you would like for him to never talk to us again.
His big clapback was that our names start with an A. But honestly, calling your sister A-hole is not half as funny as J-hole. So we win.
And we often won. And when we enlisted Reese in our shenanigans and we had her on our side, Justin had no chance.
It didn't take long before the sissies, Allie, Reese, and myself, became a unified front.
with the goal of teasing and eventually horrifying Justin. Each comment more witty and inappropriate than the last. And from across Rosie's kitchen, we would get the Justin head shake.
Reese came into our lives about 23 years ago. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, those girls can't be more than 20. But it's true.
I was less than 10 years old when Reese became my sissy. I remember her being at family vacations, drinking a lot of woodchuck cider over card games. And my little third grade self would get very excited to say, "Here comes inappropriate Reese."
Reese's playful nature was contagious. She always brought fun and silliness to family functions. On the arduous drive to New Jersey for our dear Grandma Sweeney's funeral, we came up with our own version of the 12 Days of Christmas, and it was good. It was good.
Let's just say this version is unbefitting, and Reese and Allie had me belting out 5 hairy balls repeatedly. I was 10 at the time.
Our sissy crew did not discriminate. Our banter reached far beyond Operation Justin. We grew up Catholic. We went to Mass. Because of our moral code, talking about sex was a big no-no. And if you want to create an awkward silence in a room full of McHenrys, just start talking about sex.
So the three of us, we'd egg each other on and laugh as Reese made sexual innuendos and contributed ill-suited puns over Easter brunch. Observing Rosie go from peach to tomato red and waiting for the inevitable outburst from Justin. Ugh, okay, that's enough.
Of course, we all have our own personal memories of Reese. For example, one summer at the beach, Reese claims I tried to kill her. Reese had a really nonsensical fear of sharks. Like, she had never really been in the ocean, but decided she was terrified of sharks. And but I convinced her to just wade out, like waist deep. This was back when she was having heart problems and she was really feeling crummy. And I was like, let's just cool off. It's like July. So we waded out, waist deep. And then I convinced her, like, look, you can just sit back and you can float. And look, you can stand right back up and it's still just waist deep. This is great. And so we were doing that, and we were floating and talking, and then all of a sudden, we were in deep water, like deep water. We had been carried out to sea by a riptide, and Reese immediately went into panic, like absolute panic mode. And we did exactly what they say not to do, which is swim straight towards the shore. So we're like struggling against the current, trying to get back to shore. We, at this point in our brains, were like, in the deep sea. And she was like, just save yourself. And in all seriousness, there was a moment where we both thought we're not making it back to shore. We thought that. But we did make it back. We did. And I was so proud of us. I was proud of, you know, how we had worked together and what we had overcome. And Reese made up this Herculean story about how I tried to kill her.
And she was much needed comic relief at my wedding. Just typical wedding. I was nervous. She could see I had those wedding day jitters, and I was in my head, and so she decided that she was going to start telling everyone that it was in fact her wedding. And so if anyone, the photographer, the wedding officiant, the caterer, my mother-in-law, would come in the bridal suite with questions or demands, she would interrupt them and correct them that it was in fact her wedding, and that all inquiries should be directed to her. Her ability to sarcastically insert herself and laugh with others for the benefit of group prosperity showed the type of sissy that she was and how much she loved us. My bad.
She was such an important part of the McHenrys. Growing up with the McHenrys, you hear a lot of things like want in one hand and take a shit in the other and see which one fills up first. You know?
And do you know what this is? It's a brain sucker. And do you know what it's doing? It's starving to death, you know?
And stop acting like fools, you know?
And does your face hurt? It's killing me, you know?
And you have a face only a mother could love, a mother baboon, you know?
And the things that we heard from Reese were filled with sentiments of inclusion and understanding. And Reese, Allie, and I were very different people with very different beliefs and ethics. And yet, the three of us, the sissies, we always had each other's backs, no matter what, without question.
I remember not long after Justin and Reese got married, and Reese was questioning our allegiances with hypothetical scenarios. So she's like, Reese would ask things like, would we still be sissies if Justin and I got divorced? And I was like, well, yeah, because you're like way more fun than Justin.
Or she would ask, would we still be sissies if I murdered Justin? When Reese was there, every topic was open for discussion and anything was possible. Everyone's intersectionality was considered and different beliefs were welcome and debate was encouraged. And she played a critical role in bringing all of the siblings together. Justin, Mickey, Allie, and myself.
Reese truly took on the role of the best, most motivating, supportive, big sissy. She asked hard questions and she cared about your answers. The emotional intelligence that she imparted on all of us, without coping skills, was immeasurable. In my 20s, she taught me that no matter how much you despise someone, you can, in fact, be nice to them. And that was, a life lesson.
Needless to say, Reese will be missed immensely by the sissies and by the entire McHenry clan. We had our own unique closeness with Reese. That's now its own unique loss. Many of you probably share similar feelings in your memories with Reese as well.
Over many years, and particularly over the past few months, we've got to meet a lot of people that are in her rock family. And I would like to just mention a few standout performers. To the members of the Reese McHenry Band, and this is Thomas, Mike, Mark, and any musicians that ever played with her, jammed with her, thought about music with her, talked about music with her. Like, holy shit, did she love to do that? So, thank you. To Sarah. I don't know where Sarah is anymore. There she is. There, I see you. I see you. Reese loved you. She loved you. Sarah did so much for this. She did a lot for this memorial. So thank you for your time and your friendship, and also your beef stew.
And Hannah, she has been a constant and consistent friend and support for our race, and consequently for Justin also. Hannah was a dedicated visitor to Duke hospitals, and she gave Reese compassion and comic relief when she needed it. Thank you for everything that you have done for Reese and for Justin too.
And Mimi. Everyone like Reese deserves a friend like Mimi. Her medical knowledge and treasured connection with Reese were indispensable, and she's the main reason why we're all here. I mean, she's the glue right now. So thank you. All of these people were so important to Reese. I know that we have met them in the past. I'm sure, like in fleeting moments, I've met so many of you, and I'm just Reese's sissy. But we didn't really know everyone, but everyone that I've met so far is cool as fuck. And so, thank you.
And thank you to our mom, Rosie, for always showing up and supporting Reese throughout her illness. And thank you to our dad, Stan, and to our Aunt Tisha for offering guidance throughout the way. But most of all, thank you, Justin.
Justin, you are why we know Reese. You are why she was one of the sissies, why she became one of our allies in Operation Justin, and the positive impact that she's had is immense. Her kick-ass, I do what I want, that influence will continue on in our daughters. And then hopefully their daughters, hopefully all of our daughters just continue to kick ass. And may they forever do what they want. We love you, Reese.
Whew, okay. I know we have a podium here. I can change the reverbs as needed. Pull my phone real quick. Thanks so much to everybody here. Thank you to Mimi, Sarah, Carrie, Maria, everyone who's put this day together, everyone for being here, Motorco, the families. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you so much. And this is such an immense showing. I'm Mike Wallace. I played guitar for Reese in the Reese McHenry band. However you want to. We would always joke. Reese McHenry is we're all Reese McHenrys. It's a unit. It's a thing. It's a world to live within. I started playing with around 2017. I remember exactly where I was. This was a little before that. Exactly where I was in Slim's, seeing the Heaters the very first time. Just how we moved back to town, and being just completely mind blown. You know, like so many people in this room can probably remember the first time you saw Reese play. You know, like whenever it was, wherever it was, it lives within your memory. It's seared there forever. You know. Little did I know the shape that my life would take, and where that would take me later on. She was really one of the best friends I'll ever have, and I would love and miss her every day for the rest of my life. Webster's dictionary defines death as that's a joke. I'm doing that. So much of my life with Reese was spent on stage, like here. It's weird and good to see her guitar up here without her playing it. So much of life with Reese was weird and good, or you know, not what you thought, and then way better than you could have imagined. There were so many times, at least once every show. I mean, we played together for years, and they just kind of, the years roll off, and everything rolls in and out. We probably did 80 to 100 shows. You know, we made a couple records. We traveled the country. But I would, at least once every time, I would make sure to look over. And if anybody didn't make eye contact with her all the time, I could see her, you know, stage left or stage right, whatever, depending, wherever it was. I think I was over here the last time we were here. And, you know, I could see her over there. And, you know, when we were good, when the band was good, you know, when we were playing, and everyone remembered the songs, and we were playing the right chord at the same time. But it honestly wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. I could look over there and I could see her, and it would be when she wasn't singing. It'd be like playing guitar, listening, being in the music, in the thing. And she'd be flying. Weightless. So it's weird and good to see her guitar up here, but it should be, you know. She always took care of us, you know, as much as she could, as much as anyone would let her, you know. She never let any comment or audience chatter go unnoticed or uncommented upon from the stage. You know, this would like, there's so many things. I was talking to Steve about this the other day too, another, from Spider Bags, but traveling with Reese it was just different than doing it without Reese, of course. Someone would come up after the show and be like, hey, sorry. It would be a drunk person coming up after doing this. Hey, I want to buy you a drink. And she'd be like, that sounds great. We'll have 4. It was always the band, the unit together. It was really the honor of my life to serve for Reese and to play for Reese McHenry. There won't be another one. You just got to travel in that glow, and our life started with music, and then it became everything else, too. And I think that she, there was the drive and the necessity of living, the need to live, the necessity was always there. And I was looking back at some stuff, some things that we did that just don't make any sense now. And even thinking about, she was never someone, I think that, Charles said this earlier, and I think many of us have had this experience of watching her on stage and then being around her and feeling how much love and how much care and thought she was putting into all of our lives here. This, just echoed over and over again. But then understanding, what she was going through personally and how much pain she was going through. But, we did think, for some reason, we played Outer Banks one night and then Philadelphia the next night. All full routing. That's the distance, the time it takes to get there, all the drinking the band is going to do at both places, we did Chicago afternoon, close out Indianapolis the same day. Why was that happening? But it worked. The necessity of living made it possible. We played Moore Square at a hopscotch during the day, opening up, 4 o'clock. They cut all the trees down there. I'm sure everyone, if you live in Raleigh, but blazing sun. And then going 2 or 3 blocks, later, not even an hour later, to do it again, And Reese, this is Reese. We're talking about 100-degree sun, and just to do it again. And then to play the K Viva party that Colin and they put on every year, and then just to play a song that we had never practiced at all. Just close it out, the titular song. She was always so up for an adventure, up for it, And I even think too, in other parts of her life, she was, and this is in the program, but a caretaker. A babysitter, a dog sitter, a person you can rely on, you could count on, you could call on, whatever it was, of course. I think about, we have this dog, Wendy, who was a covert dog and didn't get the right kind of socialization early enough, we're working on it, but we're always really anxious about it, me and my wife, Laura, but she watched Wendy one time. And unbeknownst to us, of course, we were out of town. I forget where we were at, but she took her to a thing, a get-together party at the Aardvark printing place, just like a warehouse and a little thing out there, and just loaded the dog up in the van, took her over there, hung out, put her back in the van, and came home. We heard about this. We were apoplectic. It was mind-blowing. It made no sense, and we were kind of like, what were you thinking? Well, who was right? Reese was right. Had a great time. Nothing bad happened, And maybe I have to think that maybe she understood this dog wants an adventure. This dog's ready. This dog's craving something, Not be around you two anxious, neurotic freaks all the time. And she was right, And I think only Reese. There's so many things, so many times I'm like, only Reese. Only Reese could get away with that. Only Reese would say that right now. She had you talk about humor, gallows humor, someone who could just face things and help you face something. There wasn't anyone else, right, in your corner. That's who you want in your corner, no matter what. Sorry. You know, there's so many stories, so many memories, so much music, and there's so much music yet to be heard, and there'll be more today. And it's, I don't know if it's like, it's not funny, but it's like so obvious that, like, you know, like we all kind of agree in this room. We all agree we love Reese, and that everyone who was here has had a personal experience or a personal relationship with Reese. And, you know, I think that not to just to try to distill someone's life and death and it's kind of a life lesson, but I mean, how could you not be impacted deeply by whatever relationship you had with Reese McHenry? Because she like wrung it out. She wrung it out, you know, and loved so hard and so much and so fully and deeply. And, you know, if there's anything to be taken forward, and I think I'm just echoing, I feel like, everything that we've been kind of talking about here today, is that like that wringing out of life, that passion, that whatever it is, you know, it's about getting, you know, it's temporary, it's a ride, we could all take it. But it's also like it's what makes everyone else's lives possible. It builds everything else. When each of us, right, like goes for it, wrings it out, it makes everything else possible. And you've heard these stories here today, like already so many times. You know, like I met my wife playing a Reese McHenry show. I've met so many people, had so many great experiences. It's changed my life forever. I'll always be grateful for that. But it's something that's like, it's something that Kirk had said at the Reese McHenry Benefit Memorial service. And like, you know, there's like people were writing. I think he was saying like he was frustrated, right? Because they were writing a music scene. It's not a music scene; it's a community, and that's a different thing. It's a deeply different thing, and it is that way because of people like Reese McHenry, who create this world, who create our lives, our experiences. And because she understood the necessity of living and the value of just wringing it out, just might as well, right? You know, so I'll forever be grateful. I love her so much. I love all of you, and whether you have a glass or not, I'll raise it for Reese, a spirit. Reese McHenry forever.
All right, so we had prior budgeted 30 minutes for people for an open mic, but we're not doing that because we're a little short on time. But I would like to give Randy a chance to say something. Randy is Reese's brother, and he wants to say a couple words. So, and then we'll get to the music, and we're gonna have a sing along, and then we're gonna have a march up and down Rigsby, a Reese parade. So this is Randy.
I only want to say a couple of things real quick. I'm not going to tell a story about my sister. I have 100 of them. But what I want to do is thank every one of you people that I have met in the last month or so for the outpouring and love that you have shown my sister and me and my family. You all deserve in my heart, a huge thank you. I did not realize the level that she had affected so many other people in another part of the country. I'm from Minnesota. We are a group of people that We don't hug each other. We don't pat each other on the back. We're Norwegians. It's different. My sister has always been one of my heroes in my life. Since we were kids, I always knew that my sister had something. I don't know what that something was, but this is what it was. She's special. And I just want to thank all of you that showed her exactly the love that she deserved. I just want to thank all of you all about that. That's all I have to say.
Hey everybody, my name's Emily Mussolino. I'm a local musician, and I've been a fan of Reese's since 20 years ago when I first saw the Dirty Little Heaters play at the Pinhook. It was the duo with her and Melissa, and I had never seen somebody take such command of the room. I mean, the voice, but not just the voice, like her energy and just apparently everything about her personality just drew everybody in and kept them there. And she was one of my biggest influences growing up, to the point where I'm still a little bit salty that my friend Webster took my Dirty Little Heaters t-shirt. I want that shit back. But I wanted to cover a really old song of hers. We've got Dave here on the drums, who used to also play with her. As soon as my guitar gets in tune, I will shut up talking, because I know y'all have been here since like 12 o'clock. But I love this song because I'm kind of an anxious, introverted person who has to do an extroverted person's job. And I felt like this song encapsulated that well. And also it's a murder ballad, and I love a good murder ballad. Let's see if we're cooking with gas just yet here. You're talking in circles again, always in some social situation. And the hands that touch for you suck up all your obligation. The people you're trying to impress are trying to impress you. You size up each other, I wonder why I bother. Instead of saying something, I try harder. Instead of saying something, well, I try harder. And so I love you and sing to you a soft, sweet song. And bless you in your ears, you drift off. Now you know how I feel. Oh, now you know how I feel. It's like a good friend, you know how throwing rocks in little hell. A social butterfly with run off a running wing. The carpet all laid out for your brand new, now still cold and faded. Someone claims the mystery, not a word to explain it. And so I love you and sing to you a soft, sweet song. And bless you in your head as you drift off. Now you know. Now you know how I feel. 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 Oh, now you know how I feel. Thank you so much, Reese, and thank you so much, everybody who's here today. Thanks, Dave.
Hello. I'm Stu, and this is my wife, Kate. Thank you to all the people that said such wonderful words and played music today. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Big thank you to Mimi. Please give it up for Mimi. She organized the benefit, this memorial, hospital visits, just so much. Such a great friend to Reese. Thank you, Justin. I know that you were such a rock for Reese and that she was for you as well, and I got your back, and I can speak for pretty much everyone in this room. We got your back as well. This sucks that we're here, but she's someone to celebrate so greatly. I know that she gave a lot of attention to others, and she also loved attention. I know that she'd be thrilled to know that this room is so full, especially a week with between Trump's cabinet picks and CEO assassinations and UFOs. I mean, there was but she is top of mind and heart with us today. And I'm just humbled. This song meant a lot to Reese. I'm so humbled that someone that had such a deep well of just genuine, authentic music, that she loved this song. So we're gonna send it up to her. And she loved to sing harmony. We sang this a lot. I sang it at her hospital bed on one of the many unfortunate stints that she had there. But she loved the harmony, so I couldn't do it alone. And thank you to my lovely wife for joining me on this. But this is Mania. And we're gonna sing it really loud for Reese.
Chesapeake, I could barely speak when I said my first goodbye. My angel, she had frozen feet the day that I arrived. Take your chances, hustling, work a 9 to 5. First goodbye.
Thank you. Chord. Hey, I'm gonna unplug this. This guitar is super loud, so we could do. Okay.
Oh, and the lyrics to this one are in the program, if you want to sing along.
You're encouraged to sing along.
Yeah, this is the sing-along.
It's in that Reese McHenry key, which is kind of hard. It's like when someone starts the happy birthday song in like a really hard key. So just belt it out.
Yeah, we dropped it a couple.
You have to go falsetto.
So yeah.
This is our "We Are the World" moment, and Kim is Quincy Jones. So.
No, I'm not. Not Quincy Jones. All right, but we could call Reese Are the World. Reese Are the World. Anyway, love you, Reese, so much. I just.
She would totally give you shit for that joke right there.
I know. I love that part too, but I just realized I just wanted to say this. One, I fucking love Reese so much, and then two, I played at more gay bars with Reese than I ever played with anybody else, or alone. So yay for gay. That's right.
Gonna tell you, my sweet talking man, your steel toes are breaking mine. One more little thing, I am the wolf, and I am the freeway, and I am the songbird. Your British singing. Through summer sheets of blue, turn my light off to find you.
Slice it up sideways. We still are two hearts. Rivers and byways,
like waving of a cloud.
This one is broken. This one's not ticking. Dead in the water. I've been out swimming. Summer sheets of blue. Turn my light off to find you. Running in circles around where you are. Tripping ourselves, climbing up walls of shine. I'm trying to find you. Musical bottle caps hanging around. Stuck your feet, you wanna be found. Shine, I'm trying to find you. Shine, shine, I'm trying to find you.
God love the sound. You boys are divine. Soft, steely hearts of the girls are goddamn right. Slow down, Virginia. Use the dullest knife blade. Loosen those vices and burn brilliant again.
Summer sheets of blue. Turn my light off to find you. Running in circles around where you are. Tripping up steps, climbing up walls of shine. I'm trying to find you. Musical bottle caps hanging around. Strike your feet if you wanna be found. Shine, I'm trying to find you. Shine, shine, I'm trying to find you. Shine, shine, I'm trying to find you.
Love you, Reese.
Wow, they made my vision come true. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I didn't really think I could love Reese any more than I already did. And seeing her through your eyes, hearing your stories, I just love her so much. And I really don't know what else to say. So I think all the words have been said. We're going to do a little Reese parade now. I know you guys are probably tired and full of love and feelings, and if we could just march up and down the street and do a little hollering and celebrating, because aren't we so lucky to have been in the orbit of Reese? Thank you, everybody. Love you all.